this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a glorious day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, for your comments, and thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. Well, today I'm going to address something that I have addressed before, but I want to address it in a different way, and that is why Black immigrants say Black Americans don't have culture. Now, that is something that has offended all of us. We have been very offended by that because we have a large culture. We have probably the largest and most recognizable culture in the world. So we are offended when other blacks say we don't have culture. And I say black because I identify as black, as African American, as ADOS, and I respect my other African Americans or Black Americans, regardless to what you identify as. So let's get that clear. As far as I'm concerned, you're all my people, and I'm your people, in a sense. But what I'm saying is that we are offended by it when they say we don't have culture. What we don't recognize is the part that we have played in them coming to that conclusion. And I have been guilty of this myself because it's true. What do we say? We say we lost our language, we lost our tribe, we lost our country, we lost our name, we lost our family, we lost everything. Well, they interpret that as your culture. What we don't add to that is we had to build another kind of culture in the United States. As far as our own language is concerned, we would have been happy to keep our own language, except that that was prohibited under the slave system. So we had to adapt to the English language, and trust and believe, we don't speak English like they speak English. Because when we start talking to each other and get wound up just right, white Americans have no idea what we're saying, and neither does anybody else for that matter. What we can call that is our own style of speaking, because they don't know what we're talking about when we start talking to each other and start talking, especially if you're talking fast. So we had to create our own language system and our own way of life, and within the backdrop of a dominant society that was very oppressive and brutal, really brutal. But what we can call ourselves is survivors. We survived that system, and we are very proud of how we came out of that system, because we didn't come out of the system empty-handed. We didn't have any money, but we were blessed in ways that you cannot imagine that people who are in a captivity system would be blessed. But we don't appreciate it. That's the problem. And when the Africans say that they don't say it in these words, but they say it in a way that you really don't appreciate what you have. The Africans will say that to Black Americans. You don't appreciate what you have. Now, they have different ways of saying that. But that's what they say. But they don't understand the trauma and the heartbreak that our family members went through, and some of us handled it better than others. Some of us were traumatized by that. The fact that so many Black Americans keep trying to go to Africa to escape what happened here is testament to the fact that some of us handled that system better and continue to handle it better than others. But the point I'm trying to get across in this video is that we have given them that information by telling them we lost everything. And everything that we lost means culture. We lost our culture. So that is a fact. But what they won't recognize, or seemingly they don't recognize it, or they don't process it because we're not adding it, we have a whole new culture. We became a whole new group of people. We are not from one African country, one African tribe with one African language. We're from many nations, many tribes, and many languages. And with that, we have created an enormous culture that we are very proud of. That includes everything that we did in this country before, during, and after slavery. And when I say before, because I just shared on my Black American Lineage channel that America is now acknowledging that the Spaniards brought black people to South Carolina in 1526. And they stayed there and mingled among the indigenous people. So see, they had been telling us that before, but now that information is being shared. So I'm saying black people were doing things before, during, and after slavery. We have a huge body of work in the United States, and that's culture. That's culture. There is so much in our history that it would take several lifetimes to really document it. But we are still whining and complaining. Black people will go right up to Africans who just got here, who left under a traumatic situation themselves, and black Americans will go right, and I'm not talking about everybody, but some of us will go right up to those people and start whining and complaining about what our family members went through in slavery when the African family might just now be coming out of tragedy themselves. So I'm just trying to offer a different point of view. Instead of getting angry when they say we don't have culture, step back and see, what have I said, or what has other African Americans said that would make them say we don't have culture. We are telling them we don't have culture by what we say when we tell them what we lost. But what we're not adding with strength is that we had to create a new culture and a number of subcultures. We're not one monolithic people. When you see some of this garbage that's coming out of the rap industry, that's one aspect of the Black American culture. That's not everybody. That's not everybody. So that is something that we have to be conscious of what we're saying to people. And also I hear them say, well, they don't ever say Jamaicans don't have culture. No, because Jamaicans don't say they don't have culture. Jamaicans don't go around saying they don't have culture. They say, I'm Jamaican, I'm a Rasta man, or I'm this, and they big up their culture. And it's because they are a majority black country. We understand that. But Jamaicans don't feel like, they don't operate like they feel like they've lost anything. Haitians don't operate like they feel like they've lost anything. Haitians have lost more than anybody in terms of just sheer power. They've won a revolution against the French. And they have been paying the price for it ever since. But they are proud of 1804. One of these days we're going to have a real discussion about 1804. But they're proud of it. They don't talk about we lost our culture. I don't think they do. And Haitians are speaking a kind of French dialect. I'm not sure what they call it, Creole or whatever. Jamaicans are speaking in an English patois. But the Caribbean countries are very proud of their countries because they are majority black countries. So they don't complain about what they lost, even though they came through the slave system too. But they found their bearing, and they don't complain about their countries like black Americans do. And Jamaicans are being United States and been here in second and third generation talking about, I'm Jamaican, I'm a Jamaican, I'm from Jamaica. So to the point that Asian woman, an Asian woman came on a YouTube channel and told them, you don't live in Jamaica, you are not Jamaican. As if to say, you're not paying taxes here, you're not adding to the economy, you're not adding to the educational system, you are not a Jamaican. Stop calling yourself a Jamaican. The Jamaicans got mad about that. But the Asian woman was making a point. And so you really need to rep the country that you're living in, like Ilhan Omar about to get kicked out of this country. I don't think they'll kick her out. But they want to deport her because she's living in the United States, taking advantage of the resources of the United States, occupying a seat in the United States Congress that should be occupied by somebody who has Americans' interest at heart and not some foreign country. So I'm saying, I got off track a little bit, but I want to wrap this up by saying that Black Americans, we have to be aware of what we're saying to other people. We have to stop complaining about America. Yes, we lost. We lost everything. But we've gained something in the process. We gained something because we earned it. We earned something, and we earned something that we should be proud of. We have tenacity, we have resilience, we have creativity, and we have humility. We care about each other more so than some of these people from these other countries. Now, I do admire the fact that Ilhan Omar does care about Somalia. She cares about her homeland. But some of these people come over here, and the people back in their country are suffering at 45 and 50% poverty rate, and they're over here bragging about what they're doing, where their people are suffering. But in Black America, we were trained that we should care about each other. Each one, teach one. During slavery, it had been against the law for them to learn how to read and write, even though some of them had learned how to read and write in spite of that law. But the responsibility for those who knew how to read and write was to teach the others, even if it was just one. The Black fraternities and sororities were founded on this principle. As you learn, teach the others. We have a culture. We don't have an African culture. We have an African American culture, which is to say that the Africans who can, an African American, by the way, is an American. So they'll be saying, you're not an African, you're not an African, you're not an African, you weren't born in Africa. You're absolutely right. We're not Africans. We're Americans. And that's how come we say African American. They had to make their way as Africans in America. And it was an America that was very brutal to them. And yet they survived, and still we rise. And that has to be the message. Stop whining. We can talk to each other about our trauma, but the world does not respect it because they have their own trauma, okay? They have their own trauma. So I wanted to add another layer to this whole Black Americans don't have culture. We lost the culture and we whine about it. We have to stop whining and start talking about what we do have, because what we have is just as great as what we lost. Okay, y'all? Let me know what you think about this video. Thank you for listening. Subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, share the video, and as always, have a great day.